Do your shoulders hurt when you sleep, when you lift your arms, or when you carry something simple? Do you feel like it's getting harder and harder to move freely, as if your own body is slowly holding you back? You're not alone. Many people, especially after 60 years of age, begin to notice how their shoulders lose flexibility, become stiffer, and start to hurt without a clear cause. A few weeks ago, I heard the story of Agnes, a 75-year-old woman who told me, "I couldn't even fasten my bra by myself anymore. Every movement hurt, as if I had a stone stuck in my shoulder." For years, she tried ointments, exercises, painkillers, and nothing gave her real relief. Until one day, on her neighbor's advice, she made a homemade oil with natural ingredients and began applying it every night. What happened next left her speechless. On the second day, she woke up without that sharp pain that stole her sleep. On the fourth day, she could lift her arms more easily. And on the fifth, she simply felt like herself again. Today, I want to share that same remedy with you. A homemade oil, easy to prepare, affordable, and with ingredients you probably already have in your kitchen. But beyond that, I want to show you how to use it correctly, when to apply it, and what you can expect each day during this small transformation. If you feel your mobility is decreasing, if you find it hard to stretch when you wake up, or if pain has already become part of your daily routine, this video might be the first step toward regaining the freedom of movement you thought was lost. And before continuing, I would love to get to know you a little better. Tell me in the comments, how old are you, and from which country are you watching me? I'll love to read your answers. Now then, let's begin. CAG. Shoulder pain is one of the most common problems as we age. It doesn't appear overnight, but when it does, it usually settles in slowly and stays. Maybe you noticed it one morning, trying to put on your shirt, or perhaps it was during the night when turning in bed, that uncomfortable sting kept you from resting. Does this sound familiar? After 60, the body begins to show the accumulated effects of years of movement, effort, and also bad posture. The shoulders, being one of the most mobile joints in the body, are also some of the most vulnerable. And this is where it all starts. One of the most frequent causes of shoulder pain is inflammation. The body responds to small damages or accumulated strains by generating inflammation which, if untreated, becomes chronic. This produces a burning sensation, constant tension, and even heat in the area. Another reason is the natural wear of cartilage, that soft layer that covers the joints. Over time, this protection decreases, and the rubbing between bones becomes more direct. This not only hurts, but also limits movement. Poor posture, especially when sitting for many hours, weakens the muscles that support the shoulders. When slouched, the weight is not distributed well, and the tendons start to suffer. Speaking of tendons, tendinitis is another frequent cause. It happens when tendons get irritated from repetitive movements or poorly executed efforts. Have you ever reached for something on a high shelf and then felt pain that lasted several days? It was probably an overloaded tendon. In more advanced cases, many people develop osteoarthritis in the shoulders, a condition where the joint progressively wears down. This not only causes pain, but also significant loss of mobility. The most common symptoms are easy to recognize. Morning stiffness that takes minutes to disappear. Pain when lifting the arms or trying to sleep on the side. A feeling of weight or constant pressure in the shoulder. Difficulty performing simple movements like combing hair, dressing, or reaching behind. And facing all this, what do traditional treatments offer? Usually pain pills, injections, or ointments with temporary effect. Many doctors recommend rest, but too much rest also weakens the muscles. The underlying problem remains. This is the frustration of many. They do everything they are told, yet the pain persists. And that leads to resignation. Thinking, well, it must be part of aging. There's nothing to do anymore. But that is not the truth. The body, even at 70, 80 or beyond, has the ability to recover if given what it needs. We're not talking about magic solutions, but about understanding how to nourish and care for that area with natural, gentle and effective methods. And that's where this homemade oil we'll talk about today comes in. A simple, affordable, and powerful ally that has helped many people reconnect with their bodies, move more freely, and above all, live with less pain. Because it's not just about bearing the pain, it's about recovering your well-being step by step, drop by drop. Go. Let me tell you the story of Elvira, a 78-year-old woman, widow, mother of 3 children, and grandmother of 5 grandchildren. An active woman all her life, who loved cooking for her family, knitting in the afternoons, and taking care of her plants. But in the last 2 years, something started to change. I couldn't even lift my arm to reach a pot. It hurt even when I stretched to open the window, she told me with a mix of sadness and resignation. She had tried everything, anti-inflammatories, heat, massages, but the pain stayed, more constant and frustrating every day. Until one morning, in a conversation with her neighbor Claire, she heard about a homemade oil. "Try it for 5 days, it costs you nothing," Claire said. And that's what Elvira did. She made it with natural ingredients: olive oil, a bit of turmeric, a touch of rosemary, and a few drops of lavender essential oil. She warmed it slightly, applied it with circular massages before sleeping, and waited. Day 1. That night she slept a little better. Not without pain, but at least she didn't wake up every time she turned. She felt a mild, comforting warmth in her shoulder, as if something was finally working. Day 2. When she got up, she noticed she could stretch her arm a little more. It wasn't a miracle, but that small improvement was enough to fill her with hope. For the first time in weeks, she didn't need help putting on her blouse. Day 3. The sharp pain began to fade. It was still there, but no longer dominated every movement. She could lift a frying pan without wincing. Her grandchildren came to visit, and she hugged them without that grimace of discomfort she used to have. Day 4. The rest was deep. She woke up energized. The nightly massage had become a ritual. Warm the oil, apply carefully, breathe deeply. But something else began to change. Her mood. She stopped fearing every move and started moving with more confidence. Day 5. That morning, Elvira could comb her hair without help. Such a simple gesture. But for her, it meant freedom. It wasn't just the shoulder. It was the confidence of slowly regaining control over her body. When I asked if she thought it was some kind of miracle, she smiled and said, "No, son. It's just that I'm finally giving my body what it needs. This is not magic. It's logic. It's nature." And she was right. The ingredients she used aren't new. They are natural substances with anti-inflammatory, soothing, and healing properties that, when combined, can penetrate the skin, relax muscles, stimulate circulation, and help the body recover what seemed lost. The most important thing is there are no false promises. This does not cure overnight. It doesn't erase years of wear and tear. But it does activate a process that many traditional treatments fail to achieve: the natural process of relief, regeneration, and balance. Elvira still uses the oil, not only on her shoulders but also on her knees and neck. And every time someone hears her talk about her experience, she says the same thing. "I didn't learn this from a doctor. I learned it from a neighbor." Because sometimes the best medicine is not in a prescription, but in what we share with each other. Teg. Now that you know what this oil can achieve in just 5 days, you're probably wondering, what's so special about it? What does it contain that makes it so effective, so different from commercial creams? The best part is that its ingredients are not secret or hard to find. They are natural, well-known, and you probably already have many of them at home. The important thing is how they combine, how they are applied, and why they work so well together. Let's look at the 5 main ingredients that form the base of this homemade oil to relieve shoulders. First, extra virgin olive oil. This is the main carrier. Rich in antioxidants and vitamin E, olive oil easily penetrates the skin and acts as a deep moisturizer. But beyond that, It also has anti-inflammatory properties thanks to a compound called anti-inflammatory properties thanks to a compound called oleocanthal, which works similarly to ibuprofen, but without side effects. For centuries, it has been used in Mediterranean medicine for therapeutic massages and to relieve joint pain. Second, turmeric. Known for its golden color and powerful anti-inflammatory action, turmeric contains curcumin, an active substance widely studied for joint benefits. Turmeric helps reduce inflammation, ease pain, and improve mobility. In India's Ayurvedic medicine, it has been used for generations to treat muscle pain and rheumatic problems. Third, rosemary. This aromatic plant is not only delicious in cooking, but also powerful for the body. Rosemary essential oil stimulates blood circulation, helping to deliver more oxygen and nutrients to affected areas. It also has a mild analgesic effect that relieves muscle tension. Studies have shown rosemary can help reduce stiffness and improve range of motion in older people. Fourth, ginger. Another kitchen ingredient that is also medicine. Ginger contains gingerol, a compound with anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. Applied as oil or extract, it helps soothe tense muscles and relieve joint pain. It also provides a mild warming sensation, ideal for relaxing stiff shoulders. Fifth, eucalyptus. Eucalyptus essential oil is known for opening airways, but is also an excellent natural anti-inflammatory and analgesic. Its refreshing effect helps reduce swelling and provides immediate relief when applied on painful areas. It's a favorite ingredient in traditional pain balms. When these ingredients combine in a single oil, their effects amplify. The olive oil base helps transport the active compounds of turmeric, rosemary, ginger, and eucalyptus directly to the tissues, deeply penetrating, calming inflammation, and easing pain. Additionally, this mixture contains no chemical additives, artificial dyes, or harmful preservatives. It is safe for the skin, as long as you don't have specific allergies. And the best part? You can prepare it at home with ingredients easily found in herbal shops, natural stores, or even supermarkets. This oil is not a modern invention. Its formula is inspired by traditional remedies from various cultures, from Mediterranean medicine to the ancestral wisdom of South Asia. Today, science is beginning to confirm what our grandparents already knew. Nature has a complete pharmacy waiting for us to listen. And now that you know each ingredient, in the next part, I will explain how to prepare it yourself at home, step by step, and how to apply it correctly to notice relief in just 5 days. Chai. Now the most awaited moment has arrived, how you can prepare this homemade oil in your own home easily without spending much, and with natural ingredients you can easily find. First, the list of ingredients. These amounts are ideal to prepare a small jar, enough to apply for 5 to 7 days. 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. 1 teaspoon of turmeric powder, preferably organic. 1 fresh sprig of rosemary or 1 teaspoon of dried rosemary. Half a teaspoon of ginger powder or a small slice of fresh grated ginger. 7 drops of eucalyptus essential oil, optional but recommended to enhance the effect. Second, the preparation. Base infusion. In a small saucepan, pour the olive oil and add the turmeric, ginger, and rosemary. If you use fresh ginger and fresh rosemary, make sure to cut them into small pieces to better release their properties. Gentle heating. Place the saucepan on very low heat or in a double boiler for 10 to 15 minutes. The oil should warm slowly, without boiling. Ideally, it should be warm to the touch, but not hot enough to fry the ingredients. This gentle heat allows the active compounds of the plants to pass into the oil without damage. Rest. After that time, turn off the heat and let the mixture rest for another 15 minutes with the lid on. If you have time, you can let it macerate overnight at room temperature for greater concentration. Straining. Filter the mixture with a cheesecloth or fine strainer and pour the oil into a clean, dry, dark glass jar. Discard the solid remains. Essential oil. If you decided to use eucalyptus essential oil, this is the time to add the 7 drops. Mix well and close the jar. And how to store it? The oil should be kept in a cool, dry place, protected from light. A drawer or cupboard works perfectly. It's not necessary to refrigerate it, but it is important to keep it well sealed so it doesn't oxidize. This oil lasts approximately 2 weeks if stored well. However, the recommendation is to prepare small amounts just for 1 week's use. Why? Because being a natural product without preservatives, its freshness guarantees better results. Extra tip. Before each application, you can warm a small amount in your hands or in a double boiler for a few seconds. It shouldn't be very hot, just warm. This helps it penetrate the skin better and makes the massage more relaxing. Now you have everything you need to prepare your own shoulder pain oil. Simple, natural, and homemade. But of course, as important as the oil is how you apply it. And that's what I'll explain in the next part. The massage ritual. Dag. You have your homemade oil ready. But for it to really work, the key is not just in what it contains, but also in how you apply it. The way you use it will make the difference between feeling momentary relief or noticing a real change in 5 days. When is the best time to apply it? The answer is clear. At night, just after you shower with warm water. Why? Because the skin is clean, pores are more open, and muscles are more relaxed. This allows the oil to penetrate better and the massage to have a deeper effect. How to apply it step by step. 1. Place a small amount of oil in your hands, just enough to cover your palms. Rub them for a few seconds until the oil feels warm. This activates the ingredients and prepares your hands for the massage. 2. Gently place your hands on your shoulders with the intention to feel, not to press. Start with slow, circular movements using the whole palm, not the fingers. 3. Slide your hands from the neck toward the shoulders and then toward the arms, as if cleaning away imaginary tension. Repeat this movement 5 or 6 times on each side. No need to use force. The secret is consistency and softness. 4. Make small circles with your fingertips on the back of the shoulders, right where tension usually accumulates. Here you can apply a bit more pressure, but always carefully without pain. 5. Finish with a gentle downward pressure from the top of the shoulder toward the chest to activate circulation and relax the muscles. This massage should not last more than 10 minutes. If you do it every night, in silence or with soft music, it will become a restful ritual your body will thank you for. What should you feel during application? The most common sensations are slight warmth or coolness, depending on the ingredients you used. Eucalyptus, for example, provides a refreshing and liberating sensation. Ginger or turmeric may create a mild, relaxing heat. You may also notice the treated area feels lighter, less tense. If you experience intense itching, strong burning, or exaggerated redness, stop use and consult a professional. It should not hurt, only relieve. What movements should you avoid? Avoid pressing hard or making abrupt movements. There's no need to force muscles or try to break tension. That can worsen pain or inflame the area. Also, it's not recommended to massage if you have a fever, acute inflammation, or open skin wounds. Some important precautions. Test on a small area of your arm before applying to the shoulders, especially if it's your first time using essential oils. Avoid using the oil on wounds, burns, or irritated areas. Wash your hands well after the massage to prevent oil contact with your eyes or mucous membranes. Do not expose your skin to the sun after applying if you use photosensitive essential oils. How often should it be applied? Ideally, once a day, at night, for 5 to 7 consecutive days. If symptoms are more intense, you can also apply a small amount in the morning without deep massage, just letting the oil act as it absorbs. Remember, the key is consistency and care. This is not just a home remedy, it's a moment for you, a time for care, connection with your body, and healing. And in the next part, I'll tell you how to accompany this treatment with gentle movements and stretches that multiply its effect, because a powerful oil needs a body that supports it. What to expect each day during the first 5 days? When you start trying something new, especially if you've lived with pain for a long time, the first question you ask is, When will I notice results? And that's a completely valid question. That's why I want to tell you what you can expect day by day during the first 5 days using this homemade oil on your shoulders. Remember that every body is different, but many people experience progressive and surprising improvement with consistency and the right approach. Day 1. Immediate relief, even if mild. The first time you apply the oil, you'll probably notice something right away, a feeling of freshness, warmth, or relief in the painful area. We're not talking about a miracle, of course, but a small respite. Some people notice they can move their arm a bit more without the usual sting. The most important thing is that first night, you can sleep with less discomfort, without changing position every half hour. That small change is already a sign you're on the right track. Day 2. Less stiffness upon waking. The second day is key. When you wake up, you realize it's easier to move your arm. That morning stiffness that made you doubt if you could reach the coffee cup begins to ease. It's not that the pain disappears completely, but there's more fluidity. Movements no longer feel like you're wearing armor on your shoulders. This is where many say, this is starting to work. Day 3. More mobility, fewer complaints. The third day is often the point where pain begins to lose ground. You can raise your arm a bit higher, move it with more confidence, and if you carry something light, like a shopping bag or a jacket, there's no longer that uncomfortable pinch. You may even start to forget at times that it used to hurt. This is a very motivating moment because you not only feel the change, you see it too. Day 4. Better rest and restorative sleep. One of the clearest signs of recovery is deep nighttime rest. On day 4, many say they sleep through the night without interruptions from discomfort or having to constantly change sides. And that, as it may seem, speeds healing. When we sleep well, the body has a greater capacity to repair tissues, reduce inflammation, and restore energy. Also, you wake up with more enthusiasm, better mood, and more desire to move. Day 5. Visible recovery. By the 5th day, what was once frustration begins to turn into confidence. Maybe a little discomfort remains, yes, but it no longer limits you. You can raise your arms to dress without pausing. You can comb your hair, carry simple things, or simply move freely. But the most important thing happens inside. You feel more in control of your body, less prisoner of pain. Recovering movement is recovering dignity. And that, although it sounds strong, is exactly what many experience when applying this oil consistently for 5 days. Now, each body is different. Some people feel changes from day 1. Others need a full week to notice more solid results. Age, level of wear, type of ailment, and even emotional state all influence. But if you commit, do it right, and combine it with rest and self-care, the benefits come. So far, I've told you how the oil works, why it's effective, how to apply it, and what to expect in the first 5 days. But now I want you to hear other voices. People like you who one day decided to try this natural remedy and saw their quality of life improve. You don't need to believe only me. Listen to what those who have already lived it say. I carried my grandson again without fear. Rose, 68 years old, active grandmother. My right shoulder was so stiff I could barely lift a coffee cup. It made me sad because when my grandson came over and asked me to lift him, I couldn't. I started using this oil every night, patiently. After 5 days, not only did I sleep better, but I could hug my grandson tightly without pain. I wouldn't trade that moment for anything. Finally, I can comb my hair without pain. George, 72 years old, retired. This might sound silly, but for months I couldn't comb my hair well. I had to lean over, use the opposite hand, or ask for help. One night, my wife prepared this oil for me. She said, "Let's try it. What do we lose?" We started the ritual every night. After the 3rd day, I could lift my arm higher. Today, I can move it almost like before. I regained that little autonomy, which is actually huge. I sleep through the night again. Teresa, 74 years old, widow. The pain woke me up every 2 hours. I turned in bed and it felt like someone was stabbing my shoulder. The pillow didn't help anymore, nor did heat. I tried creams, patches. Nothing worked completely. This oil, however, gave me the first night of complete rest in a long time. I slept straight through, and the next day, I felt different. More energy, better mood. Sleeping well changes everything. Now I can dress without pausing. Louis, 66 years old, former carpenter. For 40 years I worked with my arms. When my shoulders started hurting, I thought it was normal for my age. But later, I couldn't even put on a jacket without stopping. I applied the oil every night, gently, without rushing. On the 5th day, I noticed I no longer needed to stop to button the shirt or put on the coat. I felt young again, even if just for a while. What gave me back the most was confidence. Amelia, 70 years old, housewife. It wasn't just about pain. It was insecurity, the fear of moving and hurting myself, falling, not being able to carry something. But this oil, with its gentle and constant effect, gave me back confidence in my body. I no longer feel fragile, I feel capable, and that is priceless. See, what they all share is not just physical improvement. It's the return of independence, the joy of being able to do simple things on your own. Sometimes we think natural remedies are gentle, as if that were a negative thing. But sometimes gentle is the most powerful because it works with respect, without forcing, and in tune with your body. There is a truth that hurts more than all the previous ones, and few dare to say out loud. One that isn't written in brochures or professional care promises. And it is this. In a nursing home, you can start living as if you were already waiting for the end. I'm not talking about death itself, but about the way one stops fighting for each day. That silent surrender that creeps between walls, routines, and dimmed gazes. That moment when you stop making plans, stop imagining, stop wishing. Let me tell you about Mary Ellen. She was 79 when she entered the nursing home. Recently widowed with no children nearby, her family thought it was best for her. At first she smiled, sat near the window, knitted a little, read. But over time she changed. First, she stopped talking. She responded with gestures, then with looks. Then she stopped eating with appetite. She said the food was always the same, that it had no flavor. And then, she stopped dreaming. She no longer asked about dates, holidays, or anyone. She spent her days staring into space as if waiting for someone to turn off the light. And the hardest part was, she wasn't sick. She gave up. The nursing home didn't directly harm her. There was no abuse or neglect. But the environment slowly extinguished her, like a candle without air. Because when everything is scheduled, when you can't decide how to spend your time, when there are no goals, only maintenance, something inside you begins to dissolve. A nursing home can give you shelter, food, and security. But that doesn't always mean life. It doesn't always mean hope. And without hope, the body can be present, but the soul begins to leave long before. This doesn't mean all nursing homes are the same or all people react the same. Some adapt, find friends, little rituals. But many others, like Mary Ellen, simply press pause. And if you're considering this decision or have a loved one thinking about it, reflect on this. Is it a place where they will live, or just wait? Because we are not made to be stored away. We are made to live, to decide, to love, to make mistakes, to keep dreaming even if we're 70, 80, or 90 years old. And if something takes that away from you, then maybe it's not life, just survival. In the next and final part, we will pause to reflect together. Is it worth it? Are there other ways to age with dignity, without giving up or locking yourself away? Tatank. Now that you've come this far, let's take a moment to breathe together and look back. Throughout this video, we have gone through 8 hard truths that many don't dare to say out loud about what it really means to move to a nursing home. First, we talked about the loss of independence, that feeling that you no longer decide over your own life. Then, we touched on the feeling of being forgotten, when visits become less frequent and loneliness becomes routine. Next, we explored how one loses sense of purpose, when there are no tasks, roles, or clear goals that make you want to get up enthusiastically every morning. We also saw how health can deteriorate faster than expected, not due to illness, but inactivity, lack of motivation, and an environment that sometimes unintentionally weakens us. We talked about the loss of privacy and dignity when you no longer have your own space, not even for the most intimate things, and how once inside, leaving can be much harder than you thought, because of resources, family decisions, or simply because you no longer have the strength to start over. Then we saw how routine can turn into resignation when each day looks like the last, and living becomes passing time. And finally, we faced the hardest truth, that you can start living as if you were already waiting for the end. Not because of illness, but because of lack of stimuli, freedom, and hope. But I want to make something very clear. Not all nursing homes are the same. There are places where love is given, where autonomy is respected, where community is built, where there is life. Places where they accompany you without extinguishing the will to live. But it is also true that many older people have lived very different experiences, like the ones we shared here. And that's why, before making that decision that sometimes seems inevitable, I want to invite you to consider alternatives. Is it possible to stay at home a little longer? Can shifts be organized with family, friends, or professional caregivers? Are there outpatient services, home medical visits, or day centers in your community? Sometimes, with support and small adaptations, it is possible to continue living in your own space without giving up your autonomy. And if you have already made the decision, or are very close to doing so, I just want to say this. Let it be your decision. Let it be informed. Let it be conscious. Don't give up your life prematurely. Don't believe aging means disappearing, because as long as you keep breathing, you have the right to live, not just exist. And now I want to hear from you. Have you or a loved one considered moving to a nursing home? How has your experience been? Tell me in the comments. I'm always reading. And if this video made you think, if it stirred something inside you, subscribe and share it. Maybe someone else needs to hear it before making a decision that can't be undone. Thank you for being here. See you in the next video.